Hi there. Welcome to part 3 in a series of videos about conducting EEG research. Previously, we've looked at assembling the components that make up an EEG kit and learned how to use the data collection software. If you haven't seen those, it's a very good idea you go watch them first. In today's tutorial, we will cover the most hands-on part of the process, that is, preparing participants for data collection and cleaning up after the recording is complete. By the end of this video, you will know how to put the EEG cap onto the participant, prepare the electrodes by connecting them to the scalp, and finally how to wash the cap after the recording is finished. So without further ado, let's get started. When the participant comes into the lab, their hair should be freshly washed and free of any leave-in product. If they have long hair, they should wear it down. You should also ask them to brush their hair to remove some dead skin from the scalp. As for the researcher, it's a good idea to wear nitrile gloves for capping, since you'll be touching participants' hair and face. Before the session, you should prepare a measuring tape, some medical wipes, wooden sticks, thick electrode paste, medical tape, electrode gel, and a syringe with some single-use blunt tips. Additionally, I recommend keeping some paper towels close by. To decide on the appropriate cap size, you should measure the circumference of participant's head from the area just above the brows to the bump at the back of the head, the so-called occipital protuberance. Then choose the cap size that most closely matches your measurement. If the participant is between sizes, it's always better to try the smaller cap first. To put on the cap, start by positioning the cap on the forehead first and asking your participant to hold it in place while you pull the cap over their head. Make sure that the cap is symmetric and that the midline electrodes are aligned with the middle of the head. The CZ electrode should be exactly halfway between the so-called Nasion and Enion, Nasion being the point between the eyes at the bridge of the nose, and Enion, a small bony bump on the back of the head, where the skull begins to curve into the neck. You can also check if the FPZ electrode in the front is positioned at 10% of the Nasion-Enion line. The ears should fit comfortably through the ear holes. Next, grab some medical wipes and clean the mastoids, the bony bumps behind the ears, to prepare the skin for mastode electrodes. Use a wooden stick to scoop some thick electrode paste out of the jar, then put it on the metal plates of the drop-down electrodes. Tear off a piece of medical tape and use it to secure the electrode to the skin. Once both mastoids are attached, you can ask the participant to fasten the chin strap and adjust if needed. The chin strap should be tight but not uncomfortable. You can now attach the EOG electrodes, preparing the skin with the wipes and using paste and tape to attach them to the skin. If you're not using all EOGs, you can tuck the loose wires into the cap to get them out of the way. The HEOG electrodes should fit next to the outer corners of the eyes, and the VEOG electrodes above the left brow and below the left eye. Now it's time to connect the rest of the electrodes to the scalp. Draw liquid gel directly from the tub with the syringe, making sure that the tip is submerged in gel the entire time to avoid air bubbles. Then screw the metal tip onto the syringe. It's always better to slightly underfill the syringe since that makes it easier to handle. Now you can start injecting small amounts of gel into the little openings in each electrode. You should insert the syringe as far as it will go, making sure that the tip is touching the scalp. You might have to make some careful side-to-side movements to get the hair out of the way and reach the skin. Then slowly inject the gel while pulling the syringe out, building something like a bridge between the scalp and the electrode. You can then gently press down on the electrode to spread the gel more evenly. It's important not to use too much gel to avoid accidentally linking nearby electrodes together, creating so-called bridging. To refill the syringe, you should first unscrew the tip, draw the gel, and then put the tip back on. It's always better to start with the ground and reference electrodes and then move on to the rest of the cap, since you won't get any EEG signal until those are connected. To judge whether the electrodes are connected to the scalp, you should monitor the impedance in the data collection software. You shouldn't have any white or orange channels since those imply very poor or no connection, and you should generally try to keep your impedances as low as possible, ideally under 10 or 20 kilo ohms, which in EEG 64 is indicated with the color green. When all channels are connected, you can start collecting your data. Make sure that the data collection laptop is unplugged from the socket, otherwise you'll just end up recording a bunch of electrical noise. To remove the cap at the end of the study, undo the chin strap and carefully peel off the medical tape to release the drop-down electrodes. You can then take off the cap and use paper towels to wipe off excess gel. The participant may then wash off the rest of the gel in the hair washing sink and dry their hair before leaving. In the meantime, take the cap to the sink, placing the cable ends far enough to prevent any contact with water. Remove the tape from the drop-down electrodes and rinse the cap under cold or room temperature water. Then, while the tap is off, grab the water flosser with a toothbrush attachment, put the tap switch into horizontal position, and turn the tap back on. Clean the electrodes one by one, making sure that all gel is removed from the silicone cups as well as the syringe holes. You can also use the same brush to clean the paste off the drop-down electrodes. If that's not enough, you can always use some pipe cleaners to remove the rest. As a final step, you should grab some cap cleaner and thoroughly shampoo the cap, making sure to get both the inside and the outside. Rinse it off until the water runs clear, turn the cap inside out, and place it on one of the plastic stands to dry. As for the syringe, you can remove and throw away the tip and clean the plastic body. You can use the same pipe cleaners as before to get the remaining gel out of the barrel, then simply rinse the other half. This brings us to the end of this tutorial, where we looked at participant capping and cleanup. Hopefully, combined with the 2 previous videos, it gave you enough information to get started with EEG and collect your first dataset. I wish you best of luck with your experiments and hope that you found these videos useful. Take care, and bye for now.